So for COVID requirements, as you said, you're not required to get tested. So what all you had to bring in terms of, COVID social distancing, mask, gloves. So hey guys, as you already know that Abhinav will be joining Stanford in fall 2020 and he just got his visa approved and he will be sharing his experience. But first of all, many congratulations to you Abhinav for your book, and I have read many chapters of that book and you have excellently written your journey and how students can also get 100% scholarship at these prestigious universities.
Thank you so much.
And do you have a copy of book with you?
Yes, I do.
And I will leave it in the description below. And we are also doing a giveaway, and the details for the giveaway are also in the description below. So definitely check it out. So hi Abhinav, how was the experience and how difficult it was to get your visa during this interview?
My visa interview went pretty smoothly because I already had gotten 100% scholarship, so there were no difficult questions on that front. But I had taken a gap year, and so the interviewer was quite interested in what I did during the gap year and in which universities I applied to and all.
Oh, so as you already know that Abhinav got 100% scholarship at Stanford, so I thought it should be pretty smooth within 25 to 30 seconds as most of the students. But what do you think, what was the order of the questions and how you handled it perfectly?
So first question my interviewer asked was, in which universities did you apply to? So I had looked up that question from your previous video, so I knew okay they are going to ask this question. So because I had applied in 2018 and I had forgotten a lot of names of the universities I applied to. So I remember like okay these are the 6 to 8, 10 universities I applied to. So I said okay I applied to 10 universities and I got into 6 of them, and these are the names of the universities I got into, and he was fine with that answer.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. And then next question must be why you chose Stanford, right?
Yeah, he did ask. He didn't ask this question because probably because Stanford is like prestigious, so he didn't have to ask it, or probably he knew like from the university's name I listed. So another competitive university was Dartmouth in my list of universities. So he probably thought, okay, he's got into these many universities, and Stanford is the best among them. I don't know why he didn't ask that question.
Perfect. And why you chose US over other countries? Did they ask you this question?
No, he didn't ask that question either.
Wow. And so what was the next question and how you answered it?
So he asked, "What are you going to be studying there?" And I answered, "I'll be studying CS." And then he asked, "Okay, why do you want to study CS in US?" And I said, "On account of like all the research opportunities it will provide." And I had knew name of a professor there who was doing research in an area like in an area in artificial intelligence I was interested in. So I told him that, okay, I'm looking forward to do research with this professor in that AI lab.
Wow, awesome. And now the most important question, Joe, like pretty much every student I've seen, they have been asked this question. What are your plans after your degree? Like they sometimes specifically ask, do you plan to do CPT, OPT? So did they ask, and how did they frame this question?
So he asked, what do you plan to do after graduation?
Mm-hmm.
And I outrightly said that I plan to come back to my family in Rajasthan and help set up and want to do a tech startup there because the hub is like located in Gurugram and Bangalore. So I want to do something like that in Rajasthan. I think in this question, specificity helped because if I would have just said, okay, I'll come back to India, then it sounds like I have decided. I mean, it sounds like a predetermined answer. Like okay, because there are a lot of videos on YouTube which gives this advice. No, never said that you are going to stay in US. Always say that you are going to come back to India. So it sounds like a predetermined answer, but when you add more specificity to it, that I want to come back to Rajasthan and want to do this after coming back, it makes it seem more realistic.
Absolutely. And sometimes they even say that, do you plan to, practice OPT, work permit, or CPT? So if they would have asked you this question, how would you have answered it?
I would have said like during my 4 years of education, I would like to do CPT during summer vacations. And I don't have any plans to do OPT right now, but I'll decide in future.
Yeah, excellent. That's just amazing because OPT sometimes is part of the career. It's students' choice to pursue or not to pursue. Students get really confused with this answer too. And now your gap year question. So how difficult was it to answer this question, and what was the question regarding your gap year?
He simply asked, "Oh, so you deferred your like you took a gap year, and what did you do during that time and all?" And
Mhm.
then I clarified that I had applied in 2018 and not in 2019. I had taken gap year after getting in. Because my financial aid letter, there was a date on like my admission letter that I got in like I mean my admission letter was dated 2019, so that's why he wanted to ask that. Okay, what? Because there was no other way he could have known that I had taken a gap year.
And other than these questions, did he take the fingerprint again? So itna time kaise laga? How it takes 10 minutes? Like it seems so long for an interview.
So so he asked me to give my fingerprints again, like at that same place. And then there
Mhm.
are like social distancing protocols, and they have to sanitize again and again. Like just after I gave fingerprint, they sanitize it again. So all that procedure took time.
Oh.
And
And
then
other than
and
that,
then even like while asking questions, he wasn't asking just one after the other. After I gave answer, he took a pause. He typed something in his PC and then asked another question.
during COVID, आपको लगा, did you face any special difficulty, in the process of applying for F1 visa and getting it, or it was very smooth, the overall process?
So I had applied in July, and my original appointment was scheduled in October. But like on 22nd August, I received an email that all regular appointments have been cancelled, and I'll have to schedule an emergency appointment. So I requested an emergency appointment on the same day, and in the evening, I received an email that my emergency appointment have been approved. So I booked it for 30th and 31st August, like biometrics for 30th of August and visa interview for 31st of August. And after going there, it went pretty smoothly because all the social distancing protocols were pretty good, and I guess it was fine because it helped. I mean, it helped keeping everything in systematic because there was no rush or anything. Even
Wow.
outside the embassy, there was no rush.
And another most important question about your finances. So, as you got 100% scholarship, so how did they frame this question and how you answered it?
So he said that I see that you have almost gotten 100% scholarship, and how do you plan to pay the remaining amount? And I said, okay, my family will be covering the remaining amount. And I had like ITRs and bank statements with me, but he didn't ask for them.
Oh. And did he ask for your TOEFL score, SAT, ACT, any scores like
So
that?
just as a like precautionary measure, I had kept all these test reports with me in a separate folder, but he
Uh-huh.
didn't ask for these things. In fact, for all these things, I would recommend keeping all of them safe with you because just in case they ask, because if you don't have them at that moment, then they might reject just for saying like, okay, insufficient documents or something like that.
Wow. And can you also list all the documents you carried for the interview so that it can help students? I think they may have asked you for your COVID test report as well. I'm not sure, but if you can list them.
So he didn't ask for COVID test report. They just, I mean, did thermal screening outside the embassy, like at the entrance. They didn't ask for any test reports. But I carried a lot of documents because I had to carry like my medical records and all because of the gap year. I mean, to kind of say like this is why I took the gap year and all. So I carried my documents in three separate folders. I kind of divided them based on their need. Like I kept financial documents in one folder. I kept the required documents like DS-160 and appointment confirmation, I-20 and all in one folder, and all the academic documents like acceptance letter and all test reports, school transcripts, and all these in the third folder. So yeah, most important documents are your appointment confirmation, DS-160, passport, and financial documents, which can include bank statement. And if someone else is sponsoring you, then you can have a letter of support from that person. Or even if a family member is sponsoring you other than your parents, then you can include a letter of support from them. And while including that, it's better if you keep a signed copy, like a self-attested copy of their ID, like either passport or Aadhaar card or anything, just to prove them that okay, you are related to them. And I mean, they have given all these things on their own. I mean, you haven't obtained by any illegit means.
Wow.
Also, I kept my all the academic documents like my transcripts, my 12th grade result, my 10th grade result, and SAT score report, TOEFL score report, admission letter, and financial aid letter, and all. but he didn't ask for all of that stuff. He looked at my like I-20 and DS-160 and appointment confirmation, and he just asked for a confirmation of basic details from the passport, and he didn't ask for all those documents.
Wow. Excellent. And one last question would be like, what type of clothes would you recommend to wear? Like these kind of clothes are enough, right? Matlab, tie, coat, pant ki zarurat nahi hai na? You don't.
So I went there in t-shirt and denims and sports shoes. It's
Okay.
nice that you carry, like it's good if you carry for. I mean, if you carry yourself nicely, you don't need to have. I mean, the formal clothes like shirts or trousers. You don't need to do that. Even a plain t-shirt or something like that will do.
Wow.
I
That's
mean,
excellent.
it just shouldn't be something funky. Like it shouldn't be a party wear clothes or something like.
Awesome. And other than these questions, what was the last question they asked? Uh-huh.
So they did ask one question like, when will your program start? So I simply told them the date that was mentioned on I-20. So I said them, okay, it will begin on 14th of September. So I had kept
Okay.
two I-20s with me. One was for 21st September start date, which university had sent earlier. But after that, their plans changed and they sent a new I-20 with a new start date. And they had mentioned it in the I-20 that the program is not going to be completely online. I mean, there will be in-person classes for international students, just to, I mean, uh, just to adhere to ICE guidelines.
Oh. Yep. ICE had released key at least one class should be in person. So they had like fulfilled those requirements and sent the I-20 accordingly. And now finally, when are you going back to campus? So are you going for this semester or maybe for next semester or quarter?
So I'll be taking this quarter online from my home, and I'll go for winter quarter.
And is it your choice or like university asked you to take this online?
So this year, Stanford has asked students to take the quarter online, but they are giving an option like those students who are approved for housing already, they can come to
Mhm.
campus. So I have been approved for housing for all 4 quarters, so I can go if I want to, but have decided to stay at home for this quarter.
So for COVID requirements, as you said, you're not required to get tested. So what all you had to bring in terms of COVID social distancing, mask, gloves were both required.
So you just need to have an N95 mask on with you. You don't need gloves, and you can also carry sanitizer. But when you go inside, then they will they like make you sanitize your hands time and again. So you should carry these two things.
So thank you so much, Abhinav, for sharing your valuable information. This shows. So thank you so much, Abhinav. This shows that your overall interview was long. It was longer than the average duration, but it did went smooth as you were very very confident. Then
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, and wish yeah, and wish you all the best for your next quarter at Stanford.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yep, it was pleasure.